Let's go! Welcome to the show. It's Project Open Mic. Let's get the show off right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here with me, cause it's Project Open Mic. Let's have a good show tonight. Let's get a topic straight. Let's get things good. Let's do everything that we should. It's Project Open Mic. Let's get the show off right. Let's open our minds and take out our style. Let's see what's going on in the world tonight. It's Project Open Mic. Let's have a good show tonight. It's Project Open Mic. Let's get the show off right. It's Project Open Mic. Let's have a good show tonight. It's Project Open Mic. Let's get the show off right. It's Project Open Mic. Let's have a good show tonight. It's Project Open Mic. Let's get the show off right.
Alrighty then, what's going on, everybody? This is your boy Tig for Project Open Mic. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm hoping for those out there who are going through some of the storms and stuff that's going on, that's impacting the Caribbean and stuff. Hope you guys are well prepared and doing well. I hope there was not a lot of problems in that. But and also storms is impacting the United States and Europe as well too. So let me go and put my lovely mug on the screen, because we have a topic that's kind of finishing what we was talking about last week in a way. Couldn't finish it at the time because of just stuff, and I do apologize last Friday that I didn't do a side chat. Basically had sadly we have a death in the family and things are kind of creative. Next week there will not be a Project Open Mic, nor maybe a side chat, because of the situation of me being out of town for my birthday and stuff, and also with the death of the family. So rest in peace, my dear aunt. Hope that you are, you're out of your pain and your suffering, and you're relaxing in heaven, looking down, and hopefully you're protecting your family through any grace of means that you can. And hey, right now it's just a retrospect of looking at the whole of this year. There's some things that's good and some things bad, but I'll talk about that in a different time. At this point, we are getting into, again, the topic of the clean energy thing. As more and more people are getting caught up in this, young kids, sadly, have been caught up in the EV hype and EV and climate change and other stuff. And again, I want to state for the fact before we get into this video here, I believe in climate change. The reason I believe in climate change, because the climate always changes. It never stays still. Now, do I believe that man has created a lot of carbon monoxide, carbon in the world that is doing stuff to the world? Yes, I believe that too, because with all these cars, yes, and cars and fossil fuels and fly and everything, it is a cause and effect. So I'm not denying that at all either. But my stance on this, being a libertarian, and my stance on this is, we need to, I welcome solar panels. I welcome solar energy. I welcome wind energy, hydro, what do you call it? Hydro, biodiesel, any form, geothermal, any ways to get power that's efficient and does not disrupt a lot of economy to make a lot of people hurt. Because again, you do that, it's gonna, funny enough, you're gonna hurt a lot of poor people, because right now electricity is taking a lot of poor people out of things, even in other countries. But I am more of oil and natural gas is an infinite, is a you know, in its infancy, just is limited. It's gonna come to a point where we'll reach peak oil and whatever, we can't use it as much. For some reason we have, but we get more and more people on the planet. So yes, but I think we should use all the other options to keep oil and gas going a little bit more further, and so we get less and less independent. Not that we gotta do like California's dumb, but like I showed in the last video, of jumping so quick that it hurts them. That's the problem. You gotta make that gradual step down. You really do, and this is what we need to do. Look, the world's hooked on fossil fuels. Okay, it just is. Funny enough, I don't have the clip right now, but and you could go out and Google this yourself. China has about I think 120 more plants of coal plants. They're adding to all the hundreds of coal plants they have already right now in China. India's going to add 80 more coal plants in their country. And we're shutting down our coal plants, our natural gas, our nuclear plants and everything. We're going the opposite way. Right now, Germany, like I've said before, Germany, it was a clip, and I wonder if I can find a clip where when President Trump was in Germany at the UN, and he said, "You guys are depending too much on Russian oil. This is gonna be a bad thing for you guys." And the German delegates were there. Yeah. Crazy orange, man. You don't know what you're doing. Oh, wait a minute. 2 years later, who's laughing now? Because now Russia's saying what it's saying. And y'all, Russia got you by the what's the shorts and curlies, and the Green Party in Germany are building coal plants. Wait, you're the Green Party? You don't believe that we should have all this natural gas and all this stuff, and then y'all building coal plants now because you stupidly took down your nuclear plants for dumb reasons? So I'm not against those powers. Nuclear powers, and then we just gotta gradually step down. The cleanest energy out there is really nuclear power. That's what it is. But because people are so scared, because of Chernobyl, which was, again, that was Russia doing horrible stuff that they should have never been doing, and that happened, and they lied to the citizens when things went wrong. That was just crazy. The 3 Mile Island was a lie. And again, yes, it was an earthquake that messed up a lot of stuff with in Japan with the Fukushima plant and whatever. But it didn't get out as much as people thought it would have, and didn't do that much damage. Thank God for that reason. But I'm just saying, I'm not against it in that regard. Another thing is, I do not believe in, I'll tell you something I don't believe in, this whole carbon neutral. We ain't gonna get there. I don't know what people keep, we could do that, we do carbon neutral. Look, find ways to recycle as much as you can, which there's a YouTube channel called World Waste Business Insider. You check that out. It's funny. Governments, hey, why don't you say you want to spend all the money, and I might do a video about that too. I might do a show about that. Yeah, there are companies out there that they're using banana scraps to make sanitary napkins. And if you don't know that, that's basically like maxi pads. Making rugs and clothes out of banana fiber napkins. Oh no, and then sugar cane to make plates and stuff that when it gets out there, it'll be just as plastic, but it biodegrades in 6 and 7 months. Like that right there. Those are, I don't see all people who, like this lady, people in Louisiana who found bottles. They don't care what color bottles is, but they get tons and tons of bottles and they turn it back into sands to rebuild the shoreline in Louisiana. I applaud those people who do those good things. In Mexico, they took avocado scraps and turned it into plastics as well too. So yeah, there are people out there doing good stuff. And sad part about it, some of these companies are doing this. They're not making profits really like that, but hey. Or like in Africa, another one in Africa where they find all these sandals and they turn it into art and recycle them into art for people to use. These are the stuff the government should be putting their money into, but they're not. All government does is give money to their special interest buddies, and the new special interest right now is the EV companies, the car companies, and all the green energy, all those, half of those companies, not all, but majority of them are just phony baloney, just to say stuff. As I'm gonna show you the first clip that you're gonna see, and I like what the first person said, which was smart. We need more people to have a lot of balls to say what they gotta say too. But we're not gonna get carbon neutral. I mean, we breathe out carbon dioxide. So, carbon dioxide, sorry, but still, we breathe out carbon. The earth breathes out carbon almost with all these volcanoes. We're not gonna be neutral in this planet. We just ain't. The best thing to do is, cut down on our footprint as best as we can. Not all of it, because we ain't gonna do it. And again, plant more trees. You could, hold the soil. They won't create landslides and all that stuff. Plant more trees and stop a little bit of deforestation. Use different plants to make certain things. I like that. There's another one. There's a guy in another person I saw this week in Africa who took coconut scraps and turned it into briquettes. Because in his country, or Senegal, they cut down the trees to make charcoal, so they could, that's the only way to do something in the places they are. That is some of the fuels they use to cook food. This guy found a way to turn the coconut into briquettes, and the briquettes burn 4 times better, 4 times longer than the charcoal. And by doing that, then you don't have to cut down the trees, so then you won't prevent less landslides in India and also in Africa. The deforestation needs to be happening like that. Or if you're gonna do it, do like in Canada is doing now, and also in America, they have they're doing ways to get trees, but they plant trees back, or they cut certain trees to certain way that the trees could go back. That's the way you should be doing it. But again, America is doing most of this stuff, and some European and South American countries. But India and China is not doing that. They're belching out way more stuff. So no matter how much we come down, and we've come down a lot, and it still does not help, as they're building up more plants and more stuff to do things. Okay, I just wanted to put out front and center. That word is a big enough word. Carbon neutral ain't gonna happen in this planet, because hell, a lot of stuff is made from is done because of the carbon stuff. So again, trees does need certain things to breathe as well. So they need the carbon, so they could breathe, so they could grow and breathe and go stronger. So we need more trees. That's what we need to do. So, but again, don't take it as that. I'm a person who also love EVs, and I love EV cars, but I am not falling for the lies that they're lying to me about, because it's the old thing, like Thomas Sowell said. We got to choose what we're choosing. There are different trade-offs. That's what we got to go through. It's not a simple choice. It's not a silver bullet. So that's something that a lot of people need to go through. So in that regard, let's get to the nitty gritty. Enough waffling. Like I said, and again, I have solar panels on my roof. Okay, so I'm not, it was funny too, because I remember the guy came, he's like, well, these, and I don't have my phone up here, but I have the app. I don't share how much trees I've saved and all that stuff. That's all cool and everything. But he was like, oh, you save the trees. But like, dude, no. I'm doing this because I want my power bill to be cheap, which it is, and that's why I'm doing this. No, I don't want that. I'm doing this because I want cheap power and get off of the grid. That's why I'm doing solar panels. I'm being honest with people. I don't try to fake it up. I've gotten bills that were like $6 for a whole month. That's the kind of stuff I'm looking at. But again, enough waffling. Let's get down to the nitty gritty on some of this stuff. So in this one, I want you to listen. This is what I said. I want to listen to the government stupidity, and I always have this point that makes me think: if these people, stupidity, and a lot of these politicians are not the smartest. Okay, they're not. They have the gift of gab. They could talk a good talk, but I don't know how people. I already showed you a week ago how they're making kids stupid. That's the only way the college debt thing. That's the only way that they're doing is people are voting these morons in. So let's go to moron Sleep Quickly, because again, the Green New Deal for Alexander Cortez. That excuse me, that is just crazy nonsense. That it's not gonna fix nothing, and also it makes things worse. But again, I want to give a shout out to the man here. You're gonna see in a little bit, because he had the balls to say this. Play that beautiful bean footage.
No new fossil fuel production starting today. That's like zero.
You hear what I gotta give an example. Do you understand what that moron just said? I'll be back up a little bit.
Term from fossil fuels, and just here you get to watch her persuasive powers at work.
No new fossil fuel production starting today. That's
No new fossil fuel production today.
Oh no!
That is stupid. If you do that, the amount of wars, famine, as I said, nature creates drought, but politicians, government creates famine. Too much famine, fight. I mean, it's gonna be off the chain because of power. But they don't know. See, they live in their bubble, in their high fruiting place, whatever. They do not know what they're talking about. These people. This woman is not a smart woman. She's really not. But I like how they like to shame tattoo. If you tell them the truth, they're gonna be like, "Oh, well, you don't care about that." Do you care about poor people? Because because that's who people who don't have power, access to electricity. That's who he affects the most. Poor people. Good grief. Anyway.
I've agreed to doing this. Please answer with a simple yes or no. Starting today, that's like zero. So I would like to ask all of you and go down the list, because again, you all have agreed to doing this. Please answer with a simple yes or no. Does your bank have a policy against funding new oil and gas products? Mr. Diamond.
Absolutely not, and that would be the road to hell for America.
I like this man. Thank you, sir.
Ms. Frazier, how about you?
We will continue to invest in and support clients who are investing in fossil fuels and in helping them transition to cleaner energies.
Strike two.
And Mr. Monahan?
We are helping our clients make a transition, and that means we're lending to both oil and gas companies and to new energy companies and helping monitor their course towards the standards you're talking about.
Yeah, okay. You see that? Get all that blah 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 blah. Just crazy.
Kissing the Watch ring. This.
Yeah, Mr. Sharp.
Whatever he says.
Excuse me. The same thing as Mr. Moynihan said.
Yeah, because they're cowards. I like Mr. Diamond. Mr. Diamond is the real deal Holyfield.
Here's your passive.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask you, Mr. Diamond, because you obviously don't care about working class people in frontline communities like ours.
Are you
You piece of loser.
Lady, you about ours. You know if power goes where who it affects the most?
Oh, is that so, terrorist Dame Edna? Look, let's just. And I knew it was coming too. I just love it. It's the Shady Claims Neighborhood Watch. frontline. Wait, do you consider yourself frontline? Does she mean to say marginalized communities? Do you realize that oil and natural gas, they create 11 point something million jobs, like something between 11.1, 11.5 million jobs, most of whom, by the way, aren't Harvard grads. These are working class people. This is, again, the gaslighting that takes place. It is fossil fuels are disproportionately targeting and harming lower class communities. No, they're providing opportunities.
Yes, absolutely. And by the way, I guess if it's the front line, maybe she's saying that climate change is racist and affects black people or
that is what they say.
Minority communities.
No, that is what they say.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
I know.
Saying that it's silly.
Yes, in so many words.
It's pretty
Exactly. That's how crazy. That's the politicians y'all putting stuff on the kids. Like, oh yeah, she's gonna win. I like what Mr. Diamond says. It'll be the ruin of America. And the kids cheered for that because that's true. All right, kids, it's bad enough that these same politicians making you go pay higher taxes because they're greedy as hell and kick the can down the road, which is the sucky part about it. But hey, it is what it is. But let's go into the real deal here, okay? Okay. Now, you're going to hear something in this video. I don't agree with everything in this video. Not most of it, yes, but the reason I'm pointing that out because, again, if this technology that you're about to hear is correct, then why the governments are not rushing towards this? To a degree. They got to be skeptic because a lot of these people are all oil salesmen. But if it is true and we could turn carbon, put carbon in the air until they do liquid gas and you don't got to change nothing, we should be doing that. Plus the gas from the ground. Plus and the oil from the ground. That's what I'm saying. We need to look at all things and give it a wide spectrum of things.
If we all go electric, $50,000 for an electric car, that's $50 trillion. Then you got to deliver energy and electricity to each car. It's a massive change.
Yeah.
Alternatively, why don't we just change the fuel?
Just days after the state banned gas cars by 2035, the state is telling electric vehicle owners not to charge up because of the heat wave. So just to be clear, don't charge the electric vehicles. They are pushing everyone to buy because their electric grid can't handle it.
Shocking, ain't it?
The electric grid is really taking a testing. You know, 14% of the grid there is powered by solar power, and it seems not to be holding up so well.
Which is funny because they keep pushing electric cars on everybody, right? But one tiny heat wave, and I can't make it work.
Well, people are being asked to conserve energy between the hours of 4 o'clock and 9 o'clock tonight. If not, there could be rolling blackout.
We are expecting a blistering 95 degrees here tomorrow, and during these dog days of summer, of course, it's so important to keep your home cool.
Well, when thousands of XL customers in Colorado tried adjusting their thermostats Tuesday, they learned they couldn't.
Xcel is calling this a rare energy emergency. And yes, they took over tens of thousands of smart thermostats. They took over tens of thousands of smart thermostats here in Colorado. For the first time, there was nothing homeowners could do about it. There was nothing homeowners could do about it.
I mean, I know that people are getting tired of these flex.
And I can't let it slide. I gotta tell the truth. They took over 22,000 thermostats in Colorado. If you opt into the program of they controlling your thermostat, so do not opt in. And if they tell you if you say opt out or whatever, you opted to get $100 or $25, whatever. That was just stupid. They have said that to I do have one of those programmable that they could do that in my house. I didn't opt into it because I don't want nobody controlling nothing. 1. 2. If that does happen, unplug your router, reboot it up, and so you can set your thermostat back to where it's supposed to be. Or unplug it and then reset the thermostat, and then put the thing on what do you call it? It's not auxiliary air, sorry. And you can control the thermostat with regular power and not let it lock you out. Just tips to help you out if they try to pull this crap. But again, do not opt in to the power companies to say. So Ecobee, they're trying to push it as well too. Ecobee like, well, you can save much money if you let them. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Do not opt into it. Okay, that's my tips to you guys.
Flex alerts, but the reality is without them, we could see entire neighborhoods without power. Now, right now, ISO, which manages the state's grid, has put out an emergency.
And that's in California. What you just saw is California. They're pulling the power, but you can't charge your cars. How crazy is that?
Alert 2. If it goes to a level 3, that's when we'll see those rolling blackouts begin.
Why don't we recycle energy?
You're hitting the nail on the head. We would like people to be recycling their fuel in the same way as they recycle other things.
Your technology is we're going to refine that energy, that carbon, out of the atmosphere, combine it with hydrogen and water, and then that's the same as gas or jet fuel?
Yeah, it's chemically the same. No pollutants. So, for example, our diesel burns completely clean. None of that black smoke you see from trucks when they go up hills.
Right.
Completely clean. But yeah, it's chemically identical. Everything here is a working model, full process working, and we are capturing CO2 from the atmosphere right here. Think of it as like a big cooling tower. Large fan, the fan draws the CO2 in, chemical reaction, and we capture the CO2.
Wouldn't there be more carbon to capture by dirty, naughty factories?
No, it's uniformly distributed.
So
we could, we could
anywhere.
put one of these plants in the middle of Beijing, or we could put it in the middle of the Sahara Desert. You would capture the same amount of atmospheric CO2.
So we as a species have put it in, so we as a species should be taking it out.
Well, that's our choice, but I think we have to, or find somewhere else to live. This is the fuel that we make. It looks exactly the same as any other fuel.
Right.
It's very, very high chemical performance.
Right.
Higher performance fuel than the stuff you buy at the pumps today.
So it's better than the pumps, it's carbon neutral, and theoretically it would be cheap to make because you're refining the energy that's already out there in the atmosphere.
Yeah, you're using the CO2 from the atmosphere. Your only feedstock, the only thing you're consuming is renewable electricity.
Right.
But here's the interesting thing. A carbon neutral fuel that's compatible with any vehicle in the world today.
Right.
So that car you just drove up in, we can make that carbon neutral tomorrow.
Wow.
Any vehicle, any performance.
And this is why I said, that's why I put up my phrase at the beginning of the whole carbon neutral. That's a lie too. But again, if you could take the carbon out of the air and do that, I got nothing against that. That's what that was thinking. That is the kind of science we need. We need more stuff like this. And he does say something at the end that makes me that make me go along with him. But again, I don't want to go in to throw money at him without really proving it fully through. He said he has, and I hope so. And if it does prove fully through, they will work. Like I said, all the stuff I said at the beginning with the sand and the banana fibers and sugar cane fibers and coconut fibers and all this stuff that could do stuff like this, that governments in those companies in those countries should be like on that like that, because that is doing something. It's proven. It's proven tests. It's proven stuff. Hell, there's a guy in also in India who took broken down ceramics, pottery, melt them down, and redo that. There are people in what is it, Michigan, who I think it's Ohio, Michigan, Ohio. I apologize for that. I mean, I've been just watching a lot of this stuff lately. That took toxic that's coming from the closed mind, and they turn it in, and they take it out of the earth, for that, and they turn it into paint, like paint products and stuff like that. Not paint like painting your house, like paint for architects and to do artists and everything. So there are ways that people are recycling, and I wish this is the stuff Biden and all you politicians, this is where you should put your money into, whatever. Not giving money to the General Motors and stuff and all these EV, which we'll get into that. I'll show you for in a minute. But that's the way it should be.
Performance vehicle, any battered old truck, aeroplanes, we're compatible with all of those, which is significant because nobody's making electric tractors or electric planes.
Exactly. Do you have to do any modifications?
No.
Wow.
So transportation is about 20% of the CO2 emissions. How are we going to decarbonize that? There's 1 billion cars in the world. So if we all go electric, $50,000 for an electric car, that's $50 trillion. Then you got to deliver energy and electricity to each car. Yep. It's a massive change.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alternatively, why don't we just change the fuel? The price to you at the pump will be the same.
Having something like a carbon neutral gas isn't even enough. We've got to start going negative. We've got to actually pull carbon out of the atmosphere. Now, can this do that, and what's the plan?
You can take the CO2 generated here and bury that underground, and you get to negative emissions.
Right.
It's a hugely important thing.
And how many do you need to scale it to get to carbon negative?
You need less of these than there are power stations in the world today to net emissions out to zero.
And how many is that?
It's in the region of tens of thousands. If we are taking measures as we should be to remove emissions elsewhere, now you start getting to an overall negative emissions from the world.
Why isn't the world rushing to Squamish, BC and saying, can we please make 100,000 of these?
So first of all, we're open and ready to receive the world. Secondly, we've really just got to proof of concept here, and it's working. So the next step for our business is to expand across the globe, make carbon neutral fuel, and when the scientists and the governments decide that they need to do negative emissions, the technology is ready.
Yep.
Let it be known to all.
The Woman King is the #1 movie in America. It's exhilarating.
Remember when Kamala?
Yeah, by a little bit. And again, The Woman King, the real true story of what happened is a very bad thing. But again, I'll let it go. Right now, we're talking about this.
I told everybody to go buy electric cars because gas was getting too expensive.
Mhm.
So being the law-abiding, blind Biden supporter that I am, I went to go buy.
You said it. I'll let her say it again.
Blind Biden supporter than I am, I went to go buy an electric car. This morning, California announced that if you have an electric car, you shouldn't charge it because we don't have the infrastructure to support electric cars. Which is funny because they keep pushing electric cars on everybody, right?
Yep.
They're supposed to be better for the environment. But one tiny heat wave, and I can't make it work? Well, that's irresponsible, California. But it's okay, guys, because I am currently charging my car at a station that is fueled by oil.
Exactly.
Here's the green future of
Exactly.
California. Our electric vehicles sitting here on display to tell us that they're making a change. What's that? A diesel generator running this whole thing. It's been on all night. Oh wait, I know why it's green. It's got green diesel in it.
Well, you juxtapose the two headlines. What they just passed, this requirement by 2035, no more cars powered by fuel. And then literally, I think it was 6 days later, they put out the edict, actually, please don't charge your electric vehicles.
Motherfucker. That don't even make no goddamn sense.
Which we're pushing you towards. I know that we're all paid to make points here. Sometimes the point makes itself. This point makes itself. The one other thing I would add is when you look at some of the other things that they're telling Californians to do and not to do to try to keep the, the electrical grid running, they're saying to set your thermostat at 78 to 80 degrees.
When it comes to public transportation, remember, it's not just private.
And I'm gonna show you. This is the future they want you to have. All right, look at this. This happened now. This is stupid. That's what I said. So you telling me all these electric cars in California, you gotta charge your cars. The fastest charge you could do is 30 minutes for the smaller ones, 45 to 30 minutes for the bigger ones. And these are not to charge it full. It's charging to get about, I think, 75% or 60%. They say 80, but that's not what's happening. And of course, when you have all these charging at the same point, at that part, it slows down the charging as well too. But look at this line of people.
Private cars, these vehicles are going to be transitioned if they have their way. How are they going to keep that much power demand to drive a bus or tandem buses going on a regular basis in a 24-hour need like a Los Angeles, San Francisco, a lot of San Diego and other areas as well? Then go further inland, go into Mendocino Valley, go into areas like Fresno. This isn't the Netherlands where you have wind patterns that can drive windmills as they do over there. California doesn't have that. And when you put aside the NIMBY principle where they don't want them off the coast, so the rich elites in Malibu and, Gavin Newsom's relatives can see them. Fact is they can't support this.
So again, you get that long line, gotta wait 30 minutes before they go charge. 30 minutes. When if I'm going to get my gas, it like I did a while ago, did they have a line? Yes, he had a line because I went to Sam's. But it took me 10 minutes to fill up my tank. You gotta wait 30 minutes to 45 minutes to get a decent charge.
When you look at energy and take Elon Musk's latest statement that to have a sustainable world, it will, to paraphrase, it will fall under its own weight without oil and gas.
Exactly.
That is simply fact.
And that's why I said we need all forms of power. We need gas, we need water, we need nuclear would be a better thing for most home energy. We need all these forms and use it down. I have no problem bringing down the coal plants. That I don't have no problem bringing down the coal plants. So they don't have to cut off the trees and we have more landslides and most of indigenous places. But they're also doing more, these EV cars are doing a lot more danger than you think.
Need oil and gas to make parts for those electric cars, fossil fuels and all the components of petroleum, the rubber, the various sealants, the various lubricants. Think of everything that goes into it, along with the rare earth minerals, which you get when you do extraction of fossil fuels. I mean, this is not insane. This is beyond stupid.
It is. And I want to go into the next business of that. But as I'm bringing it up on the main screen, now you see why I say why I'm saying. Let's have multiple points. Look at that line. If you're back on that line, you gotta wait hours just to get your car to the pump to get your 45-minute hit of that mean green electric machine that's built, but this is done by diesel and other fuels from the. You're not. Get biodiesel. Get that. Like I said, that concept of the guy said it before. If it's proven concept and he could get it to make it work that way, God bless him. And I hope he does. And I hope that it is something that the government can do. That's more easy to build one of those plants and do that closely than to do anything else. But again, it all depends. But it is right now, it is crazy. And I mean crazy. To do all that, to wait that long to get your car charged. Because again, that's the problem. Not all homes can do this. Because the older homes gonna be a more problem. Not all people who have electric cars own a home, so they could do it in their garage. And not all. And if you live in apartments and stuff like that, you're gonna have to go to the charging stations. It's just asinine. Asinine. But let's look into. I've done this video before. One of the videos got blocked by YouTube and Facebook and all that stuff. So let's see if they're gonna do the exact same thing now. Again, I believe in climate change, Facebook and YouTube. But let's see how clean these EVs really are. I've showed these videos before, but I will show another one. How this thing really does affect a lot of people from different countries, and these people don't, and the rich liberal elites, they don't care. They don't care about that. They say all that crap. They don't care. They talk.
Vehicles are becoming a craze. Widespread activist energy, media support, venture capital money flowing into the industry nonstop, and all signs point to a monumental adoption curve and a cultural phenomenon in tow. In truth, it might be long overdue. Decades ago, electric cars were set to rise in popularity, only to mysteriously vanish under the pressure of oil companies and various manufacturers. At the time, the health of the environment was perceived to be less important than the wealth of the economy, and as a result, the movement died. More recently, however, electric vehicles have risen again. Led by Tesla, at least in the United States, Tesla is now losing to a China-based company called BYD in global sales. EVs have become a symbol of wealth, but not only that, they've become a symbol of elevated principles. Driving a Tesla means you care. You are the one who puts the environment first. You are the one with the money to make a change, and you are the one leading the charge against an oppressive global fossil fuel complex. Driving a Tesla, for some, is a badge of honor because they are making a difference, and they are taking a stand. This luxury vehicle, sculpted and pristine, is a symbol of the future, and for its beating heart, a sustainable lithium-ion battery that can drive you 500,000 miles or more. But what is used in this battery? What incredible piece of engineering has made this revolution possible? The answer? A trifecta of synergizing metals known as cobalt, lithium, and nickel. These three metals have made an electric vehicle not just possible, but appealing. These three metals have allowed for technological leaps in the electric vehicle industry that were previously thought to be impossible. But what if these three metals came with a price? Today, I want to take a look at electric vehicles with a bit of a focus on Tesla and examine the heart of their design. Where do these metals come from? How do we get them? And how clean really is your clean vehicle? To preface, these companies right here are the rare earth metal suppliers, refineries, and mines that Tesla buys from. However, these are only the direct supplier relationships and do not account for further partnerships with middleman companies and other manufacturers. Just keep that in mind. Alright, once again, it's time for Surfshark. Modern internet usage.
Alright, so I just wanted to give me a second here. I have to bring my lovely face back up on this. I will have this video in the raw file on the YouTube channel, so you guys can watch it without my commentary on it, and you can give these people, like I said, I use their video as is, so they could get their views and all this stuff as well too. But again, it's for now. I don't monetize nothing on YouTube or my channel because this is for teaching purposes only. So again, but we're gonna, as you heard him set it up right there, we're gonna see how a lot of the how should I say this? A lot of the negative stuff happens to these EVs that they're talking about.
Yeah, I got the loan for the truck through Navy Federal Credit Union. Can't imagine where I'd be without them.
All of that said, let's officially begin with nickel. According to the Nickel Institute, nickel is the 24th most abundant element in the entire Earth's crust. However, abundance does not equal cleanliness.
Exactly.
Nickel mining is having a tremendously negative impact on the Philippines. From NBC News, referring to Rio Tuba, quote, "The raw nickel dug out of the ground here ends up in lithium batteries of plug-in vehicles manufactured by Tesla, Toyota, and other automakers, according to an NBC News review of company filings and shipping records," end quote. It goes on to describe that this nickel mine is drastically cutting into the rainforest, affecting local residents, producing incredible amounts of runoff, and that local zoning laws are being systematically changed through political corruption to allow looser and looser restrictions on mining governance so that the operation can continue to expand.
Am I surprised by that? No, that's why I said young kids. This is what I'm trying to tell y'all. The government is just as implicit. You can say, "Oh, well, this is green energy. This we want EVs," but then it still affects people in horrible ways. That makes it not green. That makes it not clean. That's why I did another video called "Green Doesn't Mean Clean." And again, a lot of the clean energy vehicles are not clean at all, as you see right now.
For Tesla owners here in the United States, as an example, that reality and environmental impact is far off and unconcerning.
Because that's the part that I was killing with the gas. We don't want to pump our own. We have gas. We have gas on the. We have oil and we have gas on the America. But again, the white liberal ones who always come, "Oh, we don't want this situation." Oops, apologize for the light situation there. I'll have to plug in. I thought I had it plugged in. I mean, I thought I had enough charge, but I forgot I used it to do another show. So give me 1 second here to get my energy back up and going. I apologize for that. That's not the. I'm choosing the wrong chord. I apologize for that. But to keep on saying for my audio people, like it's so weird for me, like to see, like they wanted to have all the charge in other countries. Let the other countries get the oil, but we have oils here. We have oil shells here. We have stuff here, but they don't want to do it in their backyard. Like he said, like the other guy said at the beginning, they don't want the solar panels and the wind farms off Malibu or other, can mess up the rich people's views. Their views into the vista that they pay millions of dollars for. They don't want that. Just like how they didn't want the 50 illegal aliens that went to Martha's Vineyard, which is a great ploy by Ron DeSantis, myself, and that'll be another topic we talk about. But he had they 50 people went to a place that normal the least the average house, but the least amount of house is like $5 million. And the lady talking about, oh, we can't afford taking on 50 million people. But you have every house on there is millions of dollars. Oh yeah, they don't want they don't want brown people in their neighborhoods, but in the other red states, yeah, you can have it. This is the same thing that's going on with the energy. They don't want the problem in their backyard, but they have no problem going to these other countries so they could mess up their countries, even though they're the ones that say about, well, we need to change global warming, just like Harrison Ford or everything, and Harry and all them. Like, we need to change the climate change and do all this stuff, but have no problem flying off in their business jet that takes way more energy just to go 12 minutes, 5 minutes, just so they got to use a business jet to do that. And these other countries that has these problems, they don't care because it's not their problem. As long as they feel victorious and virtue signaling, they do not care that much about what's going on in it. They don't care. But let's get back into it.
The vehicle is surely more beneficial than harmful. This is just one example of unfortunate expansion, but the damage being done here is undeniable. Nickel mining itself has a hefty environmental toll. According to an analysis by CBC, quote, because of the energy-intensive processes required to extract the metals and minerals used in batteries, battery production has its own environmental footprint. Yep. Air pollution, water contamination, and the destruction of habitats are all potential side effects of mining nickel, a key metal for current battery technology. Canada is the world's 6th largest supplier of nickel, end quote. Now, remember, Tesla has a direct relationship with Canadian supplier Vale. Let's move over to Indonesia, another top nickel exporting country on a global scale, where pollution from nickel mining is reaching catastrophic levels. In the region of Kawasi on Obi Island, the seas are becoming muddied and brown. The nickel waste is lethal to existing coral reefs. Fishermen are faced with an ongoing nightmare, and there is nothing they can do to stop it as the ocean around them dies. The nickel industry is expanding year after year, and the price, as well as demand, only ever increases. More recently, in 2022, Prony Resources, in a direct relationship with Tesla, acquired the Goro mine in New Caledonia. Goro mine has famously had 5 acid leaks into nearby bays and reefs since 2010, with additional struggles for the native population, faced with a massive rare earth metal mining industry that is destroying their home. In Madagascar, the story is no different once again. Children and elderly residents of the surrounding area, when it comes to mines, are made sick by excessive pollution of the water supply.
I feel bad for you kids, but there you go. There's that again. These are your EVs. You can't be guilty of this. Your EVs just do us again, and EVs do way more damage to get the car where it needs to be at the point than fossil fuel cars. But again, they don't want ICE cars, which is basically internal combustion engine. They don't want that. Because again, the oil spills and stuff at BP, that was bad. I'm not denying that at all, and it's horrible. And we need to plug up oil, stuff that needs to be there. And I've seen videos about that. Shout out to this guy who was an old exec who goes around and plugging up oil spots. I mean, oil drilling spots, and make it that they don't spill or leak out like that, whatever. But here's the thing: oil is a natural product of of the earth, just like these are. But the problem is though, the refining and the chemical process they gotta do to get these things damage it way more than oil, because you just take oil and whatever, and then you take it to it does cause CO2s, a lot of carbon when you have to refine it. I'm not denying it, but again, we use it in plastic, styrofoam. My mouse has it. My keyboard has it. My pen has it. All these things, oil is in. Now nickel is not in everything I have it. I was in this one because it's in this because I don't have. It's a cordless keyboard, and the same thing with my mouse. It's that nickel's in there for the battery purposes. But let's just be honest with some of these things. Let's call a spade with a spade. So And this is just one of the chemicals. We got more to go because there's more chemicals doing more damage. But it's not as clean as everybody says it. Oh, this is clean. If we just do this. And so if it's 5% of the population of the world EVs are out right now. If you do this to like the guy said, billions, the 10 billion cars, how much of the earth will be destroyed by that? And I'm not against EVs in that regard either. I'm just saying it's not the silver bullet. It's not the be-all, be-all. It's not the thing that is going to save the earth from whatever thing y'all think it's going to save it from.
They frequently have mouth and eye infections.
Wow.
The chemical pesticides that were employed to protect workers from malaria killed all the bees, and when pollination stopped, surrounding crops began to die, affecting farmers and untold further residents. These things may seem small on a global scale, but the aggressive and widespread destruction left by mining operations desperate to fulfill an electric vehicle craze is a constant battle that has untold and disastrous consequences.
Exactly.
All of this makes no mention of the tremendous amount of fossil fuels being burned to carve into the Earth's surface.
Yep.
Industrial mining equipment creates an unbelievable amount of carbon emissions just to obtain the metals required for one single battery. And all of this is being done in some of the most important geographical regions on Earth when it comes to climate stability, such as the rainforest or next to coastline reefs. As reported by NBC, Elon Musk has stated that nickel is the biggest concern for Tesla when it comes to scaling lithium-ion cell production. But when we remember the trifecta of metals required, I'd like to make the case that nickel might actually be the least damaging of the three. Let's move on to cobalt. This is an aerial view of Kolwezi in the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
And this is this is the video that they blocked off right there when I was talking about this when they're using chow and everything. But let's see what happened this time.
Kolwezi is home to a cobalt mine run by the Dongfang International Mining Company. Dongfang is a subsidiary of Huayu, and Huayu is a direct partner of Tesla. Over the span of 3 years, this mine by itself has significantly displaced residents and harmed the landscape. But for DR Congo, there are far more shocking struggles. Reported on by Nordea and Sky News, DR Congo is...
This is, like I said, this is the part where they took all the well, you'll see.
40,000
right
child laborers who work in hellish conditions, some of them as young as 4 years old, to mine, sort, and refine cobalt. DR Congo is the overwhelming leader, by far, in cobalt exports worldwide. No other nation even comes close, thus leading to an electric vehicle rush that directly fuels a child labor crisis and an ecological disaster in that part of the world. And yet, Tesla owners sit there and drive their car as if they are somehow enlightened and superior. Cobalt exposure has been studied for its link to cancer, as tens of thousands of children work directly with it in obscene conditions.
Exactly.
And according to research from the Department of Environmental Chemistry within the University of Warmia, quote, apart from natural cobalt contents in the environment, pollution with this element has begun to increase in recent years. The main cause of this is the growing extraction and manifold application of cobalt in different branches of industry. The appearance of cobalt levels exceeding the environmental threshold levels has led, however, to disturbances in the proper functioning of living organisms, end quote. That same study notes that cobalt production has increased more than 7-fold just from 2008 through 2015, and that upward trend is only increasing. A satellite analysis of the MOA region in Cuba found that a cobalt mine in that area had created a 1,400 square acre dead zone. This was described as a lunar-like surface that is completely void of life, with plumes of pollution contaminating miles of coastline and hefty chunks of the nearby river. Apple, Google, and Tesla were specifically named in a 2019 lawsuit over the death of numerous child laborers. Now, the plaintiffs went on to lose that case because the burden of proof required them to illustrate that Tesla was knowingly benefiting from these practices.
Sure.
And that is an incredibly hard bar to clear. But the fact remains that knowingly or not, Tesla is embroiled in an industry and region of the world where horrifying practices are employed so that they can make electric vehicles and drivers can pretend that they are helping humanity.
And again, this is not a tech. He's using Tesla because that's the biggest name in the EV market. But same thing with Nissan, Toyota, GMC, Ford. They're doing the exact same thing. And again, some of those same things in our phone for Samsung, Apple. As you saw, he said Apple was named in the lawsuit. So let's again. I know I got blood on my hands and horrible stuff like that, but I am not. I am not trying to push this crazy. This is going to save the world. One and two. I am not delusional to think that they're not. It's not a problem. Like I said, Thomas Sowell said it's not going to be a civil. All choices has a compromise. You're going to compromise on something. There's a trade-off of something when you're doing this thinking.
Here's the thing. Southern Congo is not just rich in cobalt, it is also rich in uranium. Large deposits of this radioactive material were once a catalyst behind Congo's involvement in the Cold War. And not only are there a hefty number of mining operations employing children, tens of thousands of them, but the surrounding regions have begun to record dramatically elevated radioactivity as the mining waste pollutes rivers, underground drinking water, and agriculture sites. That's bad enough, but there's one more critical element of an electric vehicle: lithium. According to various estimates, lithium usage, when electric vehicles require about 10 to 12 kilos of the metal per battery, which is over 26 pounds, has more than doubled since 2016, and will require hundreds of thousands of tons, that's 2,000 pounds per ton, every year by 2030. These are incredible numbers, but let's examine them a bit closer. According to Kitco, Chile's lithium miners, as of right now, already consume 65% of the region's water supply. This is a result of lithium mining techniques.
And that's why I said before, I did a video about that too, where the people who want water for their farms and all that stuff in Chile, 65% of the water goes to the mining, not to the people. Again, yeah, we're doing this for green energy and helping out this and helping the world, but you also are making it worse for people in that regard.
There's a lot of evaporation involved, but also a result of global concentration. Lithium is primarily sourced from the Lithium Triangle, which is a region of salt flats between Bolivia, Argentina, and Chile. These countries are number 1, 2, and 3 on the global list of lithium reserves by an incredibly large margin, containing a combined estimate of 47 million tons. For reference, the next 3 highest concentrations are America, Australia, and China, with just 17 million tons between them. As it stands right now, aside from Chile and the obvious water crisis that has been born there, Argentina and its mining regions are also facing a water disaster. Crops are affected, dust storms are increasing, and according to Marcelo Sticco, an independent hydrologist, lithium mining and the freshwater losses as a result of it directly could soon, quote, make life in the region impossible, end quote. According to a Wired magazine investigation titled The Spiraling Environmental Cost of Our Lithium Battery Addiction, lithium mining has led to toxic spills in regions like Tibet, where
Meet litter robot.
No. That's not surprising. But people want to talk about, like, oh, wait a minute. This is still good for how things are. In Tibet, of all things, they're creating chemical problems and they're making hydrochloric acid.
Hydrochloric acid has leaked out of the evaporation pools because the runoff and waste and spillage from lithium mining is extreme. 3 metals, nickel, cobalt, and lithium. These 3 metals, or at the very least a combination of 2 of them, as some companies try desperately to shift away from cobalt, are required for all electric vehicles. Nickel mining is destroying coral reefs and coastline ocean for farmers and indigenous peoples all across the world.
Exactly.
Indonesian companies have, and continue to lobby for, to save on cost, dumped their waste into the deep sea ocean with untold consequences.
Dang.
There is air pollution, water pollution, and devastation of rainforests, while acid leaks and other serious consequences have become more and more common, even specifically in a mine that is used by Tesla. Cobalt mining is concentrated in one particular part of the world. The Democratic Republic of the Congo has seen an indescribably horrific rise in child labor and slavery, with tens of thousands of children digging in radioactive mines to recover toxic materials that are linked to a growing number of health conditions, including cancer. Radioactive waste, water pollution, and habitat destruction are also an issue, but the humanitarian consequences of electric vehicle-driven cobalt mining are insurmountable, and Tesla has a partnership with Glencore, one of the companies alleged to be directly linked to some of these issues. Lastly, lithium mining is poised to make entire regions of the world uninhabitable as it destroys agriculture and consumes fresh water. Tesla is partnered with Livent in Argentina, where water scarcity and mining operations are on track, according to some hydrologists, to not only pollute, but utterly destroy the landscape itself. And the alternative locations available, where hundreds of thousands of tons of lithium can be mined on a yearly basis, are practically non-existent outside of that triangle. All of this can be said before we even address the reality of a fossil fuel-powered industrial mining complex. Spillage, runoff, waste, they're all bad, catastrophically bad. But the energy consumption and fuel usage of these mines is staggering. Estimated by the University of Toronto and published by the Wall Street Journal, a Tesla Model 3 requires 65% more carbon emissions to manufacture than a RAV4. This gap obviously closes and then reverses during its driving lifespan after tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of miles. But carbon emissions for battery production alone account for nearly 10 tons of pollution.
And again, in that regard, that's if the battery doesn't fail. Because if the battery fails, you gotta get a new battery, which again is more problem. And it's and it's also expensive to replace the battery in these cars. It was a guy, I think Scotty was what, $26,000 to replace a battery for a Tesla car that was like 3 years old. $26,000, which is ridiculous. And also, you have to have, man, I should have done more of these videos. You have to cool down a lot of this stuff, which the liquid is not, is just as much as, you have less liquids, but you still have an important liquid that you got to put in the EV cars, which again is not carbon neutral. So it's just, I don't like people lying like that.
And this comes on top of all other environmental and humanitarian prices you actually pay for that car. I believe it was YouTuber Awaken with JP who said, "Owning a Tesla makes me feel like I feed the hungry without giving them any food." I enjoyed that line because buying a Tesla is attempting to solve one problem with a product that exacerbates 5 more. You can feel good about that one, or you can recognize the 5. Ultimately, it's up to the individual. At the end of the day, electric vehicles are a modern craze with hollow, surface-level satisfaction. They offer a self-indulgent mechanism to feel superior while spurring a multitude of crisis factors in developing nations all over the world. You can buy one. I just think it's important to see reality for a lot of people, and not the idealistic marketing hype of a green energy movement or a clean energy movement that has plenty of its own disastrous consequences and is anything but clean. You, watching this right now with your Tesla, you're not saving the planet. That's it. If you want to support their...
And it's not only Tesla, like I said before, is all the people who go and push this EV thing, GMC and Ford and all the other ones. That's not helping. That's not helping nobody. And in that regard too, I wanna bring this up as well too. Good old Johnny Boy, John Stossel, because they don't talk about, like I said, they don't talk about this stuff. They just don't. I wanna bring this up because it needs to be talked about. Because again, these are people like that, like Sheila Tlaib and AOC and all that stuff. They don't talk about all the full scope of stuff. This happened to Sri Lanka because they went green. So, and again, it's a major part of it. Was it all the problems Sri Lanka had? No, but it was a major part of why Sri Lanka is what it is right now, which is sad. Let's bring that up for a second. Let's talk about this.
Removing the police barricades and pushing the riot police back.
People in Sri Lanka rioted because in 1 year, the country slipped into extreme poverty. A big reason is because Sri Lanka's government fell under the influence of the world's hardcore environmentalists.
The green generation has risen up.
And they're not, and they're corrupted just like the oil reservoir, the oil production and anything else.
Let's go from harming our planet to healing it. Many governments have embraced the idea that pure nature is best.
And those same people don't live right beside the pure nature.
For most of our history, humans lived in harmony with nature.
But we have shattered that balance,
creating a climate catastrophe.
We need the countries to work together. UN officials now say the climate crisis requires countries to cut nitrogen waste.
There is only one Earth.
Because chemical fertilizers give off nitrogen emissions, Activists applauded when Sri Lanka decided to become
the first organic-only economy in the world.
The country's president banned all synthetic fertilizers.
Banned.
We Americans paid little attention, but media in the area saw the effects.
They were forced to go organic overnight, and their production has plummeted since.
Suddenly, the same farms produced much less food. Food prices rose 80%. That sparked these protests.
They want the whole political class to leave.
The protesters stormed into the president's mansion. The president resigned the next day. It turns out that people need chemical fertilizers.
Modern chemicals, in most cases, are pretty good.
Of course they are.
Michael Schellenberger, once named one of Time magazine's heroes of the environment, now says today's green dogma would lead to mass starvation.
We could only support 2 to 3 billion people on Earth if we just relied on natural fertilizers like manure. There's 8 billion people.
Why can't we make more organic manure?
It takes twice as much land just to produce all the cows that you need the manure from. So synthetic fertilizers are a friend to saving nature because they reduce how much land we need.
Now the environmental purists are making excuses for Sri Lanka.
They say it's ridiculous to single out the fertilizer ban as the cause, as Schellenberger does.
I don't think it's ridiculous to point out there was agricultural collapse after they banned fertilizers.
Organics advocates made this video saying,
the country needed time to change and adjust to the organic way of farming.
And I admit to that. But it's just like California. You wean yourself off of it slowly, not altogether, because that's the dumb part.
You might be able to become poorer over 5 or 10 years rather than over 6 months. But the result is going to be the same either way.
There were other causes of the problems, higher oil prices, COVID, other stuff happened.
But those same problems affected other countries where the economies did not collapse. What made the difference in Sri Lanka was its fertilizer ban.
But environmentalists are right to be concerned about chemical fertilizer.
I'm not against that either, but again, that's what I said. They're right, but you gotta understand, like he just said, you gotta understand what is the trade-offs.
The nitrous oxide they emit is a greenhouse gas, and when nitrogen runs off into waterways, it can create
dead zones where fish and other aquatic species are unable to survive.
Absolutely, we should be concerned, but that's best dealt with through a gradual process of farmers getting better at applying the fertilizer to their crops.
Farmers are already doing that.
She spends more than $100,000 a year on manufactured fertilizer.
Since fertilizer is expensive, farmers have an incentive to make sure it's not wasted as pollution.
We want to make sure we get that fertilizer to the plant.
We know that you can significantly reduce pollution while producing the same amount of food.
In the Netherlands,
they reduced fertilizer pollution by 70%.
But now Dutch farmers are protesting because their government now wants so much more reduction that thousands of farms would have to shut down.
As I said before, government, I don't like when government have that much power over the industry. That's why free markets, I know people don't, I don't say capitalism, free markets should dictate what's going on.
It's out of control. It's completely unnecessary.
We have to get to 100% renewable energy.
We will never get to 100% renewable energy. We won't. Not China, not China, not India, not America. None of these big. We are the biggest population zones in the world. We're not gonna get there, you crazy lady.
We see the same extremism with ideas like the Green New Deal.
We have to get to 100% renewable energy.
We're in the worst energy crisis in 50 years.
Energy prices going from record to record.
And yet here we are, governments are trying to make energy more scarce and expensive.
European power plants are desperately trying to buy coal because wind energy hasn't performed.
It's
there you go. Wind energy didn't do what they're supposed to do because, like the crazy lady when I was on John Stossel, we have wind energy. The wind doesn't blow all the time, sweetheart. We have solar power. The sun goes down, and then when it's the winter months, there's less sun, so it affects all that.
Totally insane. There's no other word for it.
This pursuit of a chemical-free world is insane. Modern technologies like chemical fertilizer make people's lives better. Stopping that progress brings disaster.
With poverty soaring, 1 in 5 Sri Lankans are going hungry.
People have no gas to cook. People have no money to buy food. So this has to stop.
Sri Lanka today, the world tomorrow.
Again, these are people in rich nations saying this BS because they know that's not going to happen to them. Well, Germany's letting the harder right now because they're doing more coal right now.
Let's hope the hardcore environmental left doesn't get its way.
Wake up. There's no planet B. There's no planet B. Wake up. Now you wake up. I don't understand that what y'all saying is stupid. And come to the table with common sense saying, not stupidity. That's the part that's sad. But, as I said before, that's what they're doing right now. A lot of the green energy is not clean energy. A lot of the stuff that these people are trying to push is going to be bad. Like I said, when Biden said, "Oh, we're going to ban petrol," I was like, "Petroleum, you will ban petroleum use." So I'm like, "You're not going to ban it. You're not going to ban it. I mean, you could ban it, but it's not going to be good because we use it for so many different things." And again, just like the Martha's Vineyard and the Malibu and the Washington, D.C. elites and all that stuff, and most of those are government agencies and lobbyists, they don't care about that stuff. It's just like the other video I showed a couple of shows ago where they're like telling you, "Oh, you should not own cars. You should just rent. You should only rent cars. And you should not own your own house. You should rent your own house." BlackRock is trying to do that right now. And wait a minute. Who's BlackRock again? Oh yeah, that is a big donor to the Biden campaign. And BlackRock says you should rent your house. You should own your house. Now, right now, with the upward mobility of the interest rates, which is funny because they're like, "Oh, we're doing this. We're raising interest rates because we got to fix the problem that you guys create." So it goes back to what I always said again, November's around the corner. Do not let any especially Democrats, but do not let any Democrats or Republicans tell you, "We need to raise taxes to do this and then that." You guys cause a problem. Vote no against all tax raises. If it's land tax, property tax, car tax, say hell no, because no, you shouldn't. We should not do that. Why should I pay? Just like with the student debt loan. It's funny. A lot of people who's gonna pay, who makes good money, did not went to college. So they should pay for the people who went to college who got 50,000 degrees, 50,000, 100,000, $200,000 that I showed degrees. That is worth nothing. You spend 120,000 for a drama degree. Are you out of your mind? You spend $90,000 for a psychology degree, but the average of making money of that degree is $30,000. What sense does that make? Please help me. You got a master's into a degree that doesn't mean nothing. You're gonna and then you're like, "Oh, whatever." Just like right now, people talking about, "Oh, women have this and that. They have they're going to school more. They're doing." Yeah, but there's again a negative side of what that is. 75% of purchases are done by women. 70% of the debt that's in America is by women. Most of them, they are the most educated, yes, but they also got the most useless degrees and at least amount of money making degrees in America. So whoopee on some parts, but it's not helping nothing. And some of these women are in debt for life. You're dying with a big debt from the college that you did when you were in your 20s. That's not a good decision. That's something stupid in my opinion. And again, I think you should pay it back. That's me. You took out the loan, you pay it back. I don't care what age you are. You took out a loan, you should pay it back. But again, do not let these sons of a guns tell you or put in you and say, hey, you should have my point. You should go ahead and free us from our debts. No, you made a decision. Okay? And just like you saw tonight, don't let the green power people trick you. They're lobbyists and they're just as evil as the oil companies. The oil execs. They're just as bad. And they do the exact same thing. Tell the government to go all the stuff so they can make all the money. Okay? It's gonna backfire. And you saw with Sri Lanka, and you saw what's going on in Germany and also the Netherlands. That's bad. So guys, wake up. Please remember, evil comes in all shapes, size, color, creed, height, sex, nationality, parties, whatever. Evil. So don't let, even climate, it has the evil as well too. The climate change people living in the other people. Remember, people are stupid, individuals smart. Please have a be angel. Sorry, I messed up even my own quote. So people are stupid, individuals smart. Be that smart individual. And again, for those out there, yeah, I'll see if we can tomorrow. We'll let's say have a death in my family, so I don't know, but we'll see if we have a short side chat. But next week I'll be away from stuff, so there might not be a POM or side chat. But hopefully you guys can check back in. Again, remember, go to youtube.com and also Spotify, Project Over Mike. The links are in the description if you want a certain thing on Tempo FM, whatever. You check those videos out. You can see the link in there, and go through the backlog and see what's going on with everybody. Right now we have 54,811 people watching. Again, go to YouTube, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and help us out, okay? With that said, this is your boy Take signing off for Project Over Mike. Peace out.